me start that. Okay. So you remember yesterday we are talking about interface. So I was saying that all the variable in interface is final static in nature and all the methods are abstract in nature, right? So let me define an interface first here. So how to define interface? There is a keyword called interface. Okay, like how we are having a class, right? Which is interface, right? So this is when you compile this, you will get a class. When you compile an interface also, you will get a class. Let us assume I am going to define an interface called shape. The naming convention to create the interface name is similar to class. So I've created a shape interface. So let me declare a variable called int a. Okay. Okay, let me see what it's saying. Okay. Why it's asking for initialization? Because in interface, all the variables are final static in nature, and final variable you must initialize, right? You cannot just declare, right? That is the reason. So even I'm not using final static, this is final static in nature. Okay. Okay. Let me have another call area. Sorry. Area. So let me add it. Go ahead. So this is by default. I have not declared any keyword, right? Static and all. It's a by default static in nature. Okay. So let me add one more thing. Int b equal to 20. Okay, and int a equal to 6. Okay. Okay. Now the first thing we learn about interface, we cannot create an object of interface. Okay. Can we have constructor of interface? Let me check what it's saying. Oh my God. 1 second. Okay. So when they will ask you the difference, what is the difference between this abstract class and interface? So you can say this is a point. So you can override a constructor in abstract class, but you cannot override a constructor in interface. That is the one thing. Okay. Now another thing. So now I have declared two variables, right? Int a and b. Now I have this method. So by default, this is final static, or by default, this is abstract. Okay. But interface also upgraded in relevant Java versions. Okay. So it's not like you cannot have static method. You can have methods and all that we'll talk in when we are talking about those features. But right now, we just know that in interface, we cannot have any concrete method. Okay. Concrete method means the method with a definition. Okay. So now these two are there. Same. So let me create another class called A. Okay. One class can extend another class, but one class is implements. Implements is the keyword which we use when we use interface. So let me use this shape. So what it's saying, I have a class A which is implementing shape interface, right? This is shape interface. Shape interface have these two public final static member and one abstract member, right? So it's saying, you remember in abstract class, if you are having abstract method, it will get forced to the subclass. Similar thing happen here. So it's asking for implementation. Let me implement that one. I have implemented. I use this system dot out. Sorry. I use here system dot out dot println hello find area. I'm not giving any mathematical formula here right now. I'm just printing that. Okay. So find area. So now who is the super class of A? Super class of A is shape. Okay. So how we are doing in general class, right? Let me create a shape reference. Obj equal to new A. Okay. Now with obj dot area. So it will call this one. Okay. Now we see. Now I said right? Initially, I have said that these two are final static in nature. If this is final, means we can access this by class name or interface name, right? Let me try this one. Can I access this with interface name? Yes, I can access. See, I'm able to access this, right? What it's saying, let me introduce a local variable. So I'm able to access this one, right? Similarly, I can access B as well, right? Okay, let me go to this one. Let me system to order println, and I can use, let me see, can you use super keyword for this or not? Super dot a. So we can see, I'm trying to use the super keyword, right? Usually in class we can use that, right? But here we cannot use this super keyword. Okay. Okay, so how I can access this? Let me use the name. With name I am using because it's a static in nature. Let me multiply this, say pay and say dot b. Okay, clear? So here we learn a basic thing, how to declare a interface. So in this way you can declare. Okay, let me introduce another interface. Okay, interface shape. Let me use design. Okay, and now I have this. Let me use the, okay, first let me use the different variables. Int x is equal to 45. Any data type you can take, and then let me take void drawing. Okay, so you guys remember, a one class can extend only one class, right? That is the rule. But one class can implement two interface. So what it's saying? So it's saying that please override the method. So I have overridden the method here. So in this one we are having x, which is static in nature. Let me print that one. Okay, this is clear. So basically a one class you see, class A can implement 2. Can it implement 3? Let me try this. Or 4. So let me just give it 4 or something. Any name you can give just to test it. It can implement more than 2 interfaces or not. As many as interface you can implement. Okay, this is clear. So a class can implement more than one interface, right? This is clear. Okay. Okay, now one interface. Now this is an interface, right? One interface can, let us assume this is an interface. I want to use this. I want to extend this property. I want to inherit this property of design into design 4. So how I will do that? Let us assume design version 1. This is, and I've created design version 4. I want to, whatever the previous features are there, I just want to extend. So how I can do that? So remember, one interface can inherit from another interface by using extend keyword. Okay, clear? So this is the case. So right now we have learned one class can implement multiple interface. One interface can extend another interface, right? Clear to all?
Yeah, okay. But two classes cannot implement same interface, right?
Oh, why not? Two classes can implement same interface.
So the interface can create object for both the classes.
Yes, I will show you that. That is like good
Okay.
point. Okay, so let us assume I am having A here, right? A class. Let me do similar thing and let me create another class called B. So I've created B, which implemented shape and design. So who is a super class of A and B? Shape and design, right? These two are super class. So here method name you can change if you want. You can, sorry, you cannot change because you are overriding that, right? So now I have B and I have A. So let assume I have to create an object. Let me go here. So this is shape object. So now a superclass reference can hold a subclass object. So let me do this B. Clear? So like that. Okay, we cannot create an object of interface. Remember that one. Okay, you cannot initialize this. Okay. Okay. Let assume if you are having a subclass, right? Okay, now one more question, one more thing we will get clear. So let me make it abstract, this one. So see, I a abstract class can also implement interface. You remember, like they will ask, can abstract class implement interface? Yes, it can implement. The only thing is that you cannot create a object of abstract class, right? Okay, let me try to create that one. So what it's saying, age abstract class cannot create. Okay, when you remove the abstract keyword, is it fine? Clear? Clear to you all? Okay.
Yeah.
All the methods in interface are by default public, right? So when you implement in subclass, always use public keyword. Okay, when you override, when you use, because here it's by default public. You remember when you override, you always use the less restrictive one. You remember? So in superclass, if it's public, in subclass, you will use public. In superclass, if it's protected, you can use public, protected, and default. Remember that, right?
Ah,
Similar
yes.
here also it will go. Okay. Now this is fine. We'll take another example. Okay. I don't want to populate here. So one very it's you can say that it's a very difficult and common question. You cannot difficult we cannot say, but it's a very popular question. Okay. Okay. So let assume I have an interface. Okay. One second. Interface. I've taken interface. Let assume math X. Sorry. Always use small letters. Okay. Only first letter should be there. And then I will just copy this one. Okay. Let me declare on method called add. Okay. Sorry. I'm just int A and int B, which also return int. So basically what I'm saying, this is return type integer. It will take two argument int A and B. Okay. Let me copy this. Okay. So now we are going to have two interfaces. Okay. Math X and math Y, which which is having a common method, because these two are separate, right? They can have a same method, right? Okay. Now the problem happen when we have a single class. Let us assume a class math test. Okay. So one class can implement two interface, right? Sorry. Implement two interface. The first interface is math X. The second interface is math Y. Okay. So now what it's saying? Implement. I have implemented that. So now the question is, the interviewer will ask question. Now you see, I have a add method in math X. I have a add method. Which method you have override? What you can say about this? So what you have say, when you are implementing two or more interface which contain common method, right? Then in subclass you have to provide an implementation only once, and single implementation will be valid for all the interface. Understand? So basically they will ask you which one it's implemented. So you have to say that you can have multiple interface which may have a common method, right? Which may have a common method add. So in that case, what happen? All will refer to, when all will refer to this common implementation. Okay, there is no ambiguity because all will have their own implementation. Clear?
Okay.
So for all the interface X, Y, and Z, right? We are having only one overridden here. So whatever I will write here, so let us, I'm just writing. You call this method, whenever you call this method X and Y, I'm just doing here A into B into 10. A into, acha, add is there na, A plus B. Okay, let it be. Okay, so now we'll go here. We cannot create object of interface, right? Which is clear to all. Okay, obj equal to new math test, and then I will call obj dot add if I used 10 and 20. Okay, fine. 10, 20. And let me add here one output math test IMPL. Okay, just to know that. Okay, so now here I'm just copying and pasting because multiple times you have to create object. Obj 2. Here I can have y. Sorry, small y. Okay. So now here I can have 15 and 20. So basically there is no confusion. You will have a common implementation. So when you run, right, let me run this one. So this is the question they will ask you. They will try to make you confused. So you will say, okay, yes, this is correct. So they will say like you will get ambiguity. There is no ambiguity. Okay. So it will always look for this single implementation. Okay. You can see here math test IMPL, right? Clear to you all this point?
Yeah, it is clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now one more thing. Let me use this. One second. Int A. Okay. Sorry. It's final, so you put inside 20. Okay. Math X. So okay. 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 Let me, this is obj. What is this variable now? What it's saying? Include a local variable. So I am just targeting obj. Which one it will point? Let me run this. I have to print this one. A. It will point to 20. See here, right? A equal to 20, right? Because it's having, okay. Now math X obj. Let me have math Y obj. Sorry, Y obj. Let me, which one it will point? Yeah, all is 20. Let me declare something else. 30. And let me have it 40. Yeah. If class will get disconnected anytime, we will connect again. Okay. So 30. 30 is where? 30 is math y. Okay. But okay. So it's saying that here because we are having different references, right? So that is the reason we are able to segregate. Okay, which one we have to call because of we are having math y reference, we are having math z reference and all. Okay, but when you are implementing two or more interface, right, which contain a common variable, then a reference to that variable in subclass will be ambiguous. Okay. So if you want to, let's assume if you don't want to have those ambiguity, you always use this interface name. Let's assume I want to use this A. Okay. Inside this subclass. Let me change this X, or here let me have Y. Okay. Now here I have X and Y. And here let me have this dot, this math X dot A. So like that you have to refer. Okay. You always have to refer like this, at X dot A and X dot Y. Okay. Which is clear how, like, if method is method name is duplicated in if method name is duplicated in multiple interface, we will have a single implementation. Variable name is duplicated, then you have to refer.
Please.
Yeah, any question? You are saying something, Kritika?
No, no. Ponitya speaker.
Okay, okay, no issue. Okay, fine. So right now we have covered this point. Okay. Now the point is related to the modifiers, right? Always remember in interface, okay, it's all about declaration. Interface, you cannot use this 3-4 things. Okay, first of all, private. Okay, you cannot use private, protected, volatile, and transient. If you want to note down, you cannot use private, protected, volatile, and transient. So private, protected, volatile, and transient. Okay, we'll learn about volatile and transient. We'll learn volatile when you are learning multi-threading. We'll learn transient when we learn serialization. Okay. Okay. So it's about the modifier that we cannot use. Okay. What about public and default? Let me check this. What it's saying. Okay. Why you cannot use public? Because public always be a file name. If you are make this one public, you have to make the file name this. So if you want to, if you create a, let me create a separate. So you don't, not always, like, see, for just for demonstration to teach you guys, I'm creating a single file. Okay. And I created one class and then I have interface here. But in real time, they will always go and they will use like this. They will create here Java class, choose interface, right? So here I have given name sample. Sorry. Okay, so like that you will create. Okay, so now you see, I can use public, I cannot use private, protected, right? Okay, let me define a method. So initially I have mentioned here what and all we cannot use, what and all prefix I cannot use before interface, right? Now let me define a method. I have a method called display. So this is the abstract method, right? Sorry. Okay, now this is abstract method. So usually the interviewer will ask you, can I have a private method in interface? No, we cannot have private. Can we have protected? We cannot have
Protected.
protected. Can you have static? Okay, static. We cannot have static till Java 7. Okay, when we go in different version, there might be things which get updated. I will tell you that. Okay, so right now I'm just, can you use final before method? No, we cannot use. I'm just explaining everything so that you guys will not get confused. There is a keyword called strict CTF, which I explain later, but just for timing, you just know that you cannot use that also. STRICTF. So that also we cannot use. I will tell you what exactly it does. Okay. Now there is a keyword called synchronize, which is from inheritance. Sorry, not inheritance, threading. So synchronize also you cannot use. Synchronized. Synchronized keyword also you cannot use. Okay. So that is the thing. And then there is a keyword called native. Okay. So native also you cannot use. So what and all we cannot use? We cannot use private, we cannot protected, static, final, strict, F, synchronize and native. Clear?
Yes.
So you remember when I was teaching you guys Java. So I said in Java we can have five things, right? We can have constructor, we can have data member, we can have method, we can have blocks, right? Similarly, in interface, we have to know what we cannot have in interface. Interface, we cannot have instance variable. In interface, all the variables are static. Even you declare int a, this is not an instance variable. This is static variable. It's a by default static. Even you not define. Okay, that is the first thing. So instance variable you cannot have. Can you have static method? Let me check. You cannot have static method till Java 7. Okay, let me define one method called display. Okay, and now have static. One second. Oh, display one. Okay, I don't want. So right now, because I am my ID, right? In my system, I'm using Java 21. Okay, which is the latest version. Okay, but if I change that, one second. So project settings, project structure, one second. So here, see here, SDK version. If I change this to Java 1.8, right? Or Java 7 somehow. So we start getting this error here. Display one, you cannot define a static inside that. But after Java 8, right? We can have static method inside interface, and we can also have a default method that I will teach you, not as a right now. First we have to complete Java 7, then we'll go with features and all, what and all got improved. Okay, so you will not get confused. You cannot have static also. Okay, then
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
tell me.
sorry for the interruption. So
Hmm.
for the variable, even though we are not using the keyword static, by default it will be static, right?
Yeah, everything in interface, whenever you define a variable, it will final static in nature. Okay, and methods are
Okay.
abstract in nature. Okay.
So we should initialize the those variables, right? Without initialization, it will throw error.
Yes, 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 yes,
Okay.
yes. So that is
Okay.
the reason. In last class already I have explained that. Okay. So
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So fine. So now, so what and all we cannot have instance variable in interface. We cannot have static method in interface. But in later version we have that will. But right now you remember we cannot have in Java 7. Okay. Constructor we cannot have inside that. So in abstract class we can have constructor, but interface we cannot have constructor. Okay. See, I'm getting error. So constructor also we cannot have. One more thing. You remember the blocks, right? So let me do one thing. Let me define a block. So this is static block, right? So inside interface, remove initializer it's saying. Okay. So inside interface, we cannot have blocks. You remember? But in abstract class, we can have blocks. Clear? Clear these things, like all these things are clear to you all. You all are able to understand what I'm explaining, right?
Yes.
It's very basic as well as in very details also I'm explaining all these points, what you can have, what you cannot have, what you can use, what you cannot use. Okay. The major question. Okay, so we almost cover all the part of interface, how to define interface. If you have common method, what will happen? If you have common property, what will happen? Can a class implement a multiple? Can a class implement a multiple interface? Can an interface extend property from another interface? Yes, it is do. Okay. Okay, now you see here design. Okay, let me I don't want to populate it here. Let me go to this. Okay, so see here I have math x. One more things I try to cover: math x, math y, and math z. So what I am doing, I am implementing everything so that I can override Let us assume here I add method. I'm just creating one more method here. Int sub. Okay. I will not pass any parameter just to make you understand what will happen. Okay. Here int divide. Okay. Okay. So now you see here I have implemented all this method, all this interface. I'm not want to do that. Okay. I'm not liking it to implement all this. So let us assume I have math x. So one interface can extend another interface, right? That we learn. So let me interface and let me extend that one. Math x. Okay. If call got disconnected, again we will connect. Okay. After 10 minutes. Space. Math y. Okay. Now, so what I have math x. Math y extended property from which one? Math x. Math z extended property from math y. So what happened? If I don't want to implement all this, I can just implement this. So what happened in this case? So it will force you see all the unimplemented method that you have, right? So this is clear to you all. So basically what is happening? So it's saying that you implement this, also it will implement divide from my parent. Also, okay, there is nothing. If I add any method here, int sum, okay, it will ask me to implement that also. So it's asking, right? So this part is also clear. So this is clear to you all, right?
Yeah, that's clear.
If
Yeah.
anywhere you guys have any confusion, if you want to, if you need more examples, you just tell me. Okay, I will give a more example. Okay. So what I assume is, if you guys are not saying anything, no questions, so I'm assuming that you guys are understanding pretty well. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go to the interview questions. So there is two questions which come from interface. Okay. They will not ask you major questions. So one is, I already explained, when you are having a three interface which have a common method called add. Okay, so what happened when a class implement all these three interface, so that you can easily answer, there is no issue, only one implementation will be there, all will refer to that implementation. Clear? Okay. Now second question, what is the difference between abstract class and interface? So you guys know that all the difference, you just explaining. In abstract class, you might have abstract and non-abstract method. You might have abstract and non-abstract field, right? But in interface, by default, all the fields are final static in nature. All the methods are abstract in nature. Abstract class is not a pure example of abstraction. Interface is a pure example of abstraction. Okay. And then when you are having a partial information about implementation, you go with the abstract class. When you are having a full, when you are having a full knowledge of implementation, you have full requirement of implementation, you go with interface. And then after that, how like a school child, like undergraduate will say that, okay, you can use interface keyword, you can use abstract keyword, you can use this, that, you can, abstract class can extend another abstract class, interface can also extend. A class can, let us assume if we're having a class can implement only one abstract class, but a class can extend only one abstract class, but a class can implement multiple interface. So this type of differences you can inform to, or you can answer to the interviewer. The second question they will ask from interface, what is marker interface? What is marker interface? What is tagged interface? Okay. So marker interface are the interface which doesn't have implementation. So any interface which doesn't have implementation are marker interface. So let us assume, let's take example, interface example. Let me declare one interface. So I have interface sample. Sorry, it will get disconnected. Will connect again. Sample 2. So see, if I don't keep anything over here, so this is blank, tagged or marker interface. But for us, there is no use. In Java, there are predefined marker interface. We'll learn about that. Okay. Serializable, clonable, okay, char sequence. These are marker interface. Okay. So they will ask you what is marker interface, what is the use of that?